Alright guys, so welcome to the second tutorial, and so far what we have done is we have imported our packages and we have created a model class that contains the keys uh, that we want to fetch from the JSON response. So we will go to ViewModel and create a file and name it as ViewModel, and what we are going to do here is we will create a ViewModel. So we'll name this as ViewModel, and just outside it, we'll just name this as a ViewModel. And what we will do here is we will take the model here, model news article, and yes, the underscore denotes that it's private, and we will create a named constructor and make sure that this class ViewModel is dependent on the model class. And this is here. Great. Okay, so what we'll do here is we will create getter method for each of our properties that we are trying to fetch. Return model news article title. Let's go for description. Return model news article, and what we'll do here is description string get. We need uh, URL, because once we click on the image then it should take us to the second activity. Return model.news URL, and second dash we would need URL to image that has our images, link for our images that we want to display. Return model.news article URL to image, and lastly we will create a method for the time, and we will, since we are at it, so we will just convert the time into a more human readable format. Date format, year, we want it to have the year, we want it to have the date and the day name also. Parse news article, model news article dot published. True. And here we will just return date format. It should be in English. Format date time. Okay, great. So this is done, and now what we will do is we will create another view model, but we will create a list of that new view model. So let's name it list view model, and first of all we will just create a separate class where it can talk about the loading state of the data, and here we will create a class, we can call it list view model, and with change whenever there is new value added, so it should notify us. Okay, great. Now what we'll do here is we will initialize this. Right now view model is empty. The list view model is empty. So we'll create a new list and pass our view model into it. And let's name this as articles. So the reason it is giving an error because it has not been imported yet, so let's import it. Now we will create methods to fetch news, and this will not be created unless we have the service. So let's head to service and create the service here first. We will import the IO package. Let's name this class as WebService. And sorry, there are no parentheses. So let's first of all create an instance of this package. Okay. Now what we need here is we need methods that can help us to fetch the data. So first of all, we will create a method that takes in our model and we can name this get top headlines because it takes some time to fetch data for async, and okay, future. Okay. So what we'll do here is final response await down get. And now here due to some mistake my app is not auto importing, so I'll just close the project and reload it. Let's just reload it. So in here it will take the parameter which is our constant API link. So for that I have created a separate folder constant, and we can name this file constant class constant. This contains our API link. We will take static constant API link, API key, sorry, and static constant, and we can say top headlines. And if you will go to this website news API, you can register here and you can get your API link and the key, but I have already gotten it, so I will be just getting right to it. So that's my API key, so I will paste it inside this. Okay, Android Studio is hanging. Okay, yeah, it's done. And what I'll do here is I will copy this whole link and paste it inside here, and don't forget to add s here because that dio package, it does not take in the insecure HTTP links, so s annotates that it's secured. And I will just get rid of this and add a dollar sign and add our constant in here, API key. Perfect. So now I'll create a method static string headlines for. So this is taking in if we want to specifically fetch news from a specific country. So this is taking in a parameter country string, and yeah, so here what I'll do here is instead of US I would just pass $sign in country, and this country came from here. Lastly, what I'll do is I'll create a map because we need this in our actions where we are seeing list of some countries that we can place in our action. USA is equals to US according to the documentation of API. India, India is in, and Korea is KR, and China is CN. So let me just explain this. Where did this come from? It came from here. If you go into the documentation and if you go towards top headlines, then you can see that you can fetch the news by the country parameter also. So this came from here and you can check it out. The link will be in the description. Okay, so we are done in our constant class, and I'll just close this. And I'll just go back to our service and I will import our model here, and we can pass constant top headline, and I can name this top headline. And now it is going to be very simple. If response status code is 200, so 200 represents the response, the JSON request has been made successfully and the data is available. And if it's 400 or something, then it means like error. You can read about this HTTP response codes, that what each of the code means. So let's go, and what we can do here is if response is successful, final result response.data. Okay, so what we'll do here is we will create an iterable list of this response, and the response that we are fetching is coming from the articles, because whatever that we have in here, if I can just reformat it so I can explain it better. I think I've done that 1,000 times, but I'll just do it again. So this all information of title, description, URL to image, published at is inside articles, right? So that is why we are coming here and typing articles. Make sure the spelling matches with the key here. Yeah. So what we are going to do here is we are going to return list map pass in article. The function is the method that we had created in model. So there was a method that we have created here. We will call this method inside. Yeah, we will be calling that method. So let's model news article dot from JSON, pass in article. That's the dynamic variable. Dynamic variable represents that the type can be changed at any point, and we are not like bound by the data type. So that's it. This is the method that will help us to fetch data from the internet. So otherwise, if the response is not successful, then throw an exception. Response unsuccessful. Response failed. So while we are here, we can just also create a method for our news that we want to search by the country, right? So we can change this countries dot headlines for country. Okay, this is done, and we can close this also. And here what we will do is we are back to our list view model, so we can start working on this. Void get news get top headlines. No. Get top headlines, news headlines. This is going to be an async method, and in here we will create a list that contains our model news article, and we can name this as news article list model news article. Yes, perfect. And what I'll do here is I will bring this loading status is searching. So what we'll do here is we will notify the listener if there are any changes. And lastly, this article, the list that we have taken outside of the method here, is equals to news article dot map. And what are we going to pass in here? Article view model article is equal to article to list. Now, if you are wondering from where did this come from, view model class is dependent on the article itself. Okay, that is why whenever we are using view model, we have to pass in the article. So here, lastly, if this article is empty, loading status is going to be empty, else loading status completed. So this is done, and we are done for this tutorial. But last thing what I will do here is notify listeners, and what we will do here is we will copy the same method for our method to fetch news country-wise. And what I'll do here is, okay, so one thing I have done wrong is let's just go up, is that this is going to be equal to await web service get top headlines and down below again await, that means waiting for this to finish. Web service get used by country, string country, that's it. We can change fetch views by country. And yeah, okay. So guys, this was the second tutorial where we have created a view model, we have created a service that fetches data for us, and now it's just us showing that data, because till here we have already set up a mechanism that fetches data for us. So I'll see you in the next one.